Hi, I'm Cheryl. We're finally going to get to put our Shadowbox card together, our Easel Shadowbox card. And this is, I made this as an Easter card, but we're going to switch it up and make it a Mother's Day card. Since I've kind of missed out on Easter this year, it just snuck up on me. It was just too fast. So I hope you watched the first video because we need to have our flowers all done and our shadow box done. So, by the way, I made a mistake in the shadow box one, and if you followed my spoken directions, you're going to have a slightly bigger shadow box element than on this card, but either way, it will work just fine. So, this is what we're going to need. We need a piece of Whisper White, and I used the thick cardstock. This I used piece 3 by 2, and stamped and die cut this oval. And for that, I used the layering ovals framelit dies, and this is the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the 4th from the smallest die that I used for that. And I stamped it with this sentiment right here, and that's from Your Inspiring. We also need a strip of paper, 1 inch wide, approximately. You could be a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. And we're going to cut a piece, one piece that's 1 1/4 by 1 inch across, and we're going to score it every 1/4 inch. And then we need another piece that's 1 by 1, and we're going to score it 1/4 inch from each of the edges. You see how that is? We need a piece of Whisper White 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. And another one that's 5 1/2 by 11. And then this one is scored at 5 1/2. And then it's scored also at 2 3/4. So it folds like so. And that's going to be, these two pieces will be the base of our card. We need some Pear Pizzaz, sponge dauber. We're going to finally use the Prills that I said we were going to use on the flowers. We'll be using the Designer Dries Clear Glue. And from the original one, I got the Happy, excuse me, I got the Happy Easter stamp from the Dogwood Chapel. So just so you know, if you want to try and squeeze in an Easter card. So let's, oh, and this collection paper from Heartfelt Creations. So we have these two pieces. They came from a piece that looks like this. There's another piece here, and then this piece was a little, so that will help you identify it a little easier. And this is what's on the back side of the papers I use. That's the only bad thing about the Heartfelt Creations designer papers, is that both sides are so beautiful that you hate to cut one side or the other to use it. But luckily there's 2 pieces of each of them in the pad of them. So let's get going on this. Alright, so we're going to take this piece that's a 5 1/2 by 11 inch piece, and the 2 scores, and we're going to put this design facing downward. We want that on the bottom edge of this. So I'll use my designer glue here. And put that that in place. And then we'll attach this to the 5.5 by 5.5 inch piece. Again, we'll put our glue on. And line that up. It covers the whole thing. And then we'll go back to this one, and on this portion right here, okay, so that folds up like that, this portion right here, we're going to put our designer's glue on there. It dries clear, and we will attach like this. And that gives us our easel part of the card. And there we go. Everything's all lined up nicely. And next will come our shadow box. And that will get lined up in the bottom right hand corner. So again, put our glue on. And put that right along the edge of both the side and the bottom. So this is coming along very nicely, don't you think? And then I'll get this ready to go onto the card. Our sentiment and our little oval, and I'm going to just sponge the edges of that a bit with the Pear Pizzaz ink and the sponge dauber. And in my little box of goodies here, I have this little leaf. I'm gonna glue that on. I'm just gonna put some glue on the stem. And that will go right there. And then on the back, we have our little piece that's scored, that's 1 by 1, and it's scored 1/4 inch from each end. And by the way, make sure you get yourself some nice crisp folds on there when you score it and fold it. And I'm going to glue this little bit here to the back of my oval. And I'm going to fold this end down. And I want, if you have that at a right angle to your table, this will be just touching the bottom of your oval. And we're going to attach that to the card. It's going to go on the card. It's going to look like this. You can see? And this piece, we're going to fold that in. We're going to make ourselves, you see how that is on the end? It's like a little square straw. That's what we want to make. And that will go, there we go. Hold that for just a second till the glue sets up. That will go on the back of one of your little flower sprays. So put that on. We're using these instead of stacking up a whole bunch of glue, like the Stampin' dimensionals. Because I wanted a lot of dimension on these. Okay, so we'll set that aside to let that dry. And we'll start adding adding our elements, all of our flowers to the front here. So I've got all my little flowers there all stacked up. I'll start with my flower sprays. And I'm going to attach one right here to the top. I want that kind of going pretty much straight across here. We'll put glue on the back there. And just hold it in place for a second. And I'll get my other flower spray. And that's going to go down here on the bottom like this. Wait a minute. We got to get that so that it doesn't go past the end here. How do I want this? Like that? Yeah, that looks good. So I'll put that right on here like so. Hold that in place for a second, and now we're ready to start adding our flowers. I'm going to start out with the largest of my dogwood flowers. Let me get them all separated here. I have to put all my things away. All these shaped flowers, they have to get put away into some kind of a container because my cats just love them. They think they're cat toys. Pretty much everything in my house they seem to think is a cat toy, but they really like these shaped flowers. If I leave them out on my table, I'll come back. They'll be on the floor. They'll be all chewed up. Okay, and we'll place this one next. That's the next to the largest. So I'm just going to write down the sizes down the side here. And I'll put that one here. And then the next one I'm going to put up here on the top. And then these two smallest ones will go on this flower spray. So let me attach those. That one and my littlest one finally. That will go right there. Okay, now we can start adding all of our little bitty pink flowers. These are actually from the Lush Lilacs. So all of these little flowers have to go on. So I'm gonna cut out. I'm just gonna tuck them in everywhere that there's a little space. I'm gonna cut out, and then I'll come back and we'll finish putting the card together and add our prills. Okay, so I have all my little pink flowers just tucked in everywhere, and we're ready to add our prills to the center. I've already done the two small flowers here on this spray. So we just use some of our Dry's clear glue in the centers here. And I used this little thingy here, but because this is so big, I'm going to bring this thing in. This is a plastic DVD case, and this has been wonderful to keep my my card projects. So I have a card in progress. All my pieces go inside here, and that keeps it clean and cat destruction free. Okay, so now we're ready to place the rest of our card, and I want that to stand up like so. You can see, like this. So I'm going to put this right here. So on the back here, remember we added this little, like a square straw type of thing, and put a little glue on there, and put it where I want it, and I'm going to have to press it down until I feel it make contact. Okay, I'll hold that for a second, and let me get my little sentiment here. Okay, so this is coming along quite nicely. Let me fold that a little bit better. Didn't look like it was going to be cooperating with me. So just then along the 1/4 inch where we scored it, we'll put some glue there. And that will get attached right in front of our shadow box. And I need to come in from the side here with something. I grabbed a skewer, so I'm going to come in from the side here. I'm going to use the skewer to press that down against the base of the card and hold that in place for just that few seconds that it takes for the glue to grab hold. And there we go. That could be a little straighter. Let's see if there we go. There. Remember to recap your glue. Bang it. Tap that down. Oh, I tapped one of my flowers right off. Okay. So now our card is completed. So if you've liked this video, then do hit the like button down below. That's something that's very easy to do. You don't even have to think of anything to say. Just hit the like button. And if you, if there are any questions or comments you have, then leave a question or comment below. If there are any Stampin' Up! Products that you'd like to purchase, and that would be wonderful if you use me as your demonstrator, you can do that either through my blog or my Facebook page. Oh, and by the way, on my blog, I have, I'm going to have blog exclusives. Woohoo! I love saying that, blog exclusives. So be sure to check out my blog. And I guess that's about it. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.